The woman got married to a married man. Will she be prosecuted? I'm Tulsa Attorney James Worth. That's the question that we have. Actually, the question we have is exactly like this. Sir, please talk about bigamy in Oklahoma. Woman got married to a married man. Will she be prosecuted for that crime, or only he will be prosecuted? All right, so we've got statutes on this. They're pretty clear cut and laid out. It is Title 21, Section 881, 882, 883, and 884. All right, so 881 talks about the crime of bigamy. It says every person who, having been married to another who remains living, marries any other person, except in the cases specified in the next section, is guilty of bigamy. Okay, so that says anybody who marries another person while they're already married is guilty of bigamy unless it falls into one of these exceptions. Okay, so what are the exceptions? First exception is if your spouse has been successively absent for 5 years without you knowing him or her to be living. So if you haven't seen them in 5 years, seen no evidence that they're alive, that can be a defense to this. 2, that the person has absented himself for 5 years from the United States. So if the person, travels out of the United States, doesn't return for 5 years, that can be a defense here. 3, that the marriage has been annulled, pronounced void, or dissolved. So if they've been divorced or gotten annulled, obviously that doesn't count. And 4, the other exception is if the person has been sentenced to life imprisonment. So it's not bigamy if your spouse has been sentenced to life imprisonment. Of course, under any of those circumstances, it'd still be my recommendation, go ahead and file that divorce, get that on file so you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. So those are the exceptions. Okay, so now bigamy, it is a crime. We've learned what it takes for that to be a crime, the elements of that. What is the punishment? Well, it says a person convicted of bigamy shall be guilty of a felony punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary not exceeding 5 years. So it's 0 to 5 years. Now we're getting to Title 21, Section 884, and that has to deal with the substance of the question, which is we'll go back to the question here. Woman got married to a married man, can she be prosecuted? Well, let's see what Section 884 says. It says any person who knowingly marries the husband or wife of another, in any case in which such husband or wife could be punishable in the foregoing provisions, shall also be guilty of felony bigamy and sentenced to up to 5 years in the penitentiary, up to 1 year in the county jail, and or a fine not exceeding $500. So both parties can be punished. If the person marrying someone else who is married knows, there has to be knowledge that that person is married, that is also bigamy, also a felony, also can be punished up to 5 years. So that's what the state law says. In practice, it is very rare that we see these things get prosecuted either for the person that was married or for the other person. So the law, Oklahoma statute, pretty clear. There may be some arguments regarding constitutionality as it relates to the person who's not involved in the marriage. But regardless, we don't see these prosecuted enough to even go in there and fight those to where we see those things challenged. So it is against the law. Either party could be prosecuted, both parties could be prosecuted. We just don't see it happen very often. So if you've got a question related to law in the state of Oklahoma, you're probably going to want to talk to an attorney privately and confidentially about your specific circumstances to receive actionable legal advice in a strategy session. To get that scheduled with an attorney at my office, you can go online to makelaweasy.com.